So when you're ready to use the digital die cutter, we have the Silhouette Cameo, and once you're logged into the computer, you just use the Silhouette Studio icon. I'm gonna open that application, and we have a library with a few items. I think we have 100 items that are already preloaded that you can use, and there's also a way to import items from Google Images. So I actually want to show you, I like to make sure that my page is set up so that I can see the grid. If you don't like the grid, you can opt out of it, but this grid matches the grid of the loader sheet, and it really helps you figure out where your placement of your item is. So that's why I like to use the grid. That's a sticky map. I'll show you that in a second. I have already created or discovered a logo that I want to use, but if you want to go to the library and see what we've got, I'm going to close this out. These are our recent downloads. So all of these images are downloaded and available to use. Ooh, that's cute. I'm actually going to use this thank you. And I'm going to show you that you can just resize it by grabbing one of the anchor points and holding shift if you want to keep the constraints. And I actually have an image that I want to use, this one. This image is from the internet and it is not a cut file yet. In order to make it a cut file, I'm going to open the trace panel. I'm going to select the trace area, and I'm just going to select the part I want traced, and it'll turn yellow, and I want it a solid fill. I'm going to kind of play with this threshold a bit. I'm going to tell it to trace, and so now these red lines indicate a cut file. I'm actually going to move it to my other file so that it's together with this thank you word. And I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. Because we want to press this onto some fabric, we actually need to print this in reverse or mirrored. So I'm gonna select it and then right click, flip horizontally. And so the thank you is gonna be in reverse. I don't need to do that with my image, although I certainly could. This is the same, probably reversed. That might be fun. Okay. So I'm pretty confident with what my placement and my image. I'm just going to move it over a little bit. I like to consider the space of the of our resources. So, for example, you wouldn't want to print this in the middle of your screen or in the middle of a page, because then you're wasting all of the rest of the page. So we can just place it off to the side. We're going to use our heat transfer vinyl. I'm going to make sure my plastic is down, which it is, and my vinyl is up. And this is sticky paper or sticky mat. I'm just going to stick it right onto my grid, and this is taking at 1, 2, 3, 4.5 blocks and 4.5 blocks this way, and this is only taking at 2 by 1, 2, 3 and change. So I could make this a little bigger, but I'm happy with the size, and I know it'll fit on my panel here. So the next thing I need to do is turn on the Silhouette, and the power button is right here. I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to lift this up so I can see what's happening. I'm just going to move this a little bit. I want to show you a little bit about the inside of this. There are 2 spots available for your tools. This is a blade. If you ever need to change it, you pull this out and you lift this straight up. I'm just going to show you the blade is there, super sharp. So this is another safety issue. You don't want anyone messing with the blades or opening this up, because these blades are really, really, really sharp. If you ever need to manually change the blade, it goes from 0 to 10, and there's a little red indicator bar. You just put it in this slot, and each time you press down, it changes the blade depth. So now we're at 4. The machine will do that for you, but if there's ever an issue, that's how you manually change it. Just be sure to lock it back in. The secondary one you can use for pen tool, a scoring tool, or any special other sort of blades. We haven't used it in a while, so I might need training to help you out, but there's definitely YouTube videos galore on using the Silhouette Cameo and all of its different blades. So in order to load the cutting mat, you've got to line the edge of the mat with these blue guidelines here. And you want to make sure they're fitting under these opaque circles. This one actually moved a bit, so I'm going to unlock it and kind of scooch this off to the side. Oh, maybe I locked it there. I want this to be sort of in the margin. I'm going to lock that back up. And then when I'm ready to load, I'm going to do the touch screen load, and it's loading in. If it ever loads askew, you can just unload it and try again. Sometimes that happens. It's fine. So it's loaded. I've got my image the way I want it set up on the screen here. I was in design mode, so I'm actually going to go to send, and it's going to send it to the cutter. If you're not sure of the thickness or the depth of your blade, you can always do a test cut. There are many options of material type, and heat transfer vinyl is one of them. Although I don't think that this is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and move it up. I'm going to move this up too. I'm manually changing these, and I'm going to do a test cut. It'll do a little triangle on the side. It's choosing the depth of the blade here. It just takes a second to unload. And then I'm just going to make sure that this would really work on a, that it really cut through the material. It doesn't need to cut through the plastic part. In fact, we don't want it to, but it needs to cut through this heat transfer vinyl. And if your nails don't work, there are some blades we can use in the toolkit next to the 3D printer. I mean, next to the digital die cutter. Right here. I'm gonna go ahead and use this blade to just make sure that it cut, and it did. So this is actually, this is how it will look, which is great. So I know that the test cut worked. So my depth of my blade is fine. So I'm just gonna reload that in, lining it up, load. And then I'm gonna send it here. If at any point it looks like your cut is going askew, or it's off track, or something's getting crumpled underneath, you can always pause it on the touch screen and then wait for it to be done and then unload it. You never want to just yank it out, because that blade can get pretty entrenched. So the job is complete and it's time to unload. So you press unload, it spits it out, and then I'm going to take it off of the sticky mat, and I'm going to put this protective paper back on so that it will keep our sticky mat sticky longer and we can use it more and more. Okay, I'm done with this, so I'm going to turn it off. And once again, if I need to save this file, you need to save it to a digital, to either the cloud or to your own thumb drive. But I'm just going to discard it. I'll be done with it. Okay. Right, so now I'm going to peel away the excess. And since we have some lettering here, I'll probably use one of the weeding tools that we've got, but this is also a very satisfying experience. I want to try to preserve some of this vinyl so that we can use the same color for another project. Okay, so the die cutter has its own little box of tools, and there's like a scraper, which is great if you're trying to scrape some vinyl off of your mat. And this is a weeding tool, so I'm just going to use that to try to weed the sort of inside of these letters. It's a little bit detail oriented. But it comes up pretty easily. And this one will be nice and satisfying. Okay. The other tools in here, there's some X-Acto knives, there's a burnisher, and there are some extra blades if this blade gets dull. Oh, I need to put some new blades in. But there's a fabric blade and a pen holder, so you can use different sorts of pens with this tool as well.